So I've been seeing more and more people commenting on my videos saying that they took the GED test and they failed by a point or 2 points or 3 points. But at any rate, they got really, really close to passing, but they just didn't quite cut it. And so I want to make a video and just kind of address this and just, share my opinion, share some ideas and tips you can use to move forward, because this is a common theme that I've seen through many, many years now. And, just recently I've noticed a lot more comments starting up again about people that are having this situation. So, I just want to say first and foremost that, there is no right or wrong way to respond to this. Everybody's different. And some people, for example, that I've seen when I used to do a lot of tutoring in person would have a near pass like this and they would fail by a point or two and they would just completely shut down and they would just completely feel demoralized. Other people I've seen, fail by a point or two and it just doesn't really faze them. They're just kind of back to their studying right away and they just kind of keep going about their daily lives. And I just want to say that, there is no right or wrong way to, kind of cope with a failure like this. Everybody's different, and however you're feeling, that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with taking it really hard. There's nothing wrong with, not being affected by it. It's just everybody's different. So, I just want to say first and foremost, you have to know yourself. You got to take care of yourself here. If you're, really experiencing, hard feelings over a failure or a setback like that, it's okay to take some time off. It's okay to, take care of some other things and come back to it when you're, have a new perspective on it. Maybe when you're feeling like reconnecting with your studying, and it's also perfectly okay if you have failed by a couple points and you want to get right back to your studying right away. So let me just say that first and foremost, you got to take care of yourself, do what's best for you. There's nothing wrong with however you want to cope with a failure. Different people experience it in different ways. There's no right or wrong way to experience that. All right. So with that being said, now, the first thing that I would recommend anybody do, whether you are studying right away after a failure or if you've taken a break, whatever the case happens to be, I want you to write down everything that you can remember on the test, especially things that you struggled with on the test. And so ideally, if you could make a list of things that that you struggled with on the test or things you think you did wrong, and then really focus your studying, just double and triple down on those topics, that's going to help you a lot. Now, if there are other things other topics in math that that you haven't studied well enough yet, you also want to study those. Okay, so let me give you guys some kind of homework or action steps here to take away from this video, and you're free to do them, you're free to not do them, it's totally up to you. One thing I would recommend everybody do if you failed by just a couple points is to, pick out 3 topics that you haven't studied yet and really, really hammer home on those. So for example, it could be as simple as, let's say you're trying to pass math and you had a setback with the math. Okay. You find 3 math videos on my channel that you haven't watched yet, and you watch those and study them. Now, it doesn't have to be on my channel. There's many other sources of math information out there on YouTube. Doesn't have to be videos. It can also be your textbook. If you have a textbook, find 3 topics in math that you haven't studied yet and study those. And then what do you do once you feel like you've mastered those? Well, then you pick another 3 topics that you haven't studied yet and you work on those. Okay. So, start with 3 things. Maybe it's slope, maybe it's fractions, maybe it's, percents for you. So, those 3 things, if you haven't studied those yet, set aside some time to study those. Then you want to pick out another 3 topics that you haven't studied yet and study those and just keep going and keep going and keep going, and then pick out another 3 and master those and pick out another 3 and master those. And you might be saying, well, when do I stop? Well, you stop when you feel very confident that you can pass the test, because at this point you have to understand, it's extremely frustrating that you got so close to passing and you just didn't quite get over the hump. But at the same time, you also have to understand that, you probably either know enough to pass already or you're very close. So what I would recommend is, again, pick out the things that you know for sure off the top of your head that are weaknesses, work on those, and also find some new things that you haven't studied yet, work on those. And, I want you to keep going, and really I want you to kind of overkill your studying, okay? I want you to get to the point where you're feeling confident that you're ready to pass, and then do a little bit more, all right? And then do a little bit more and do a little bit more. I want you to really overkill your studying, so that way, you just leave no chance, you don't leave it to chance. You just kind of go in there and you have no doubt in your mind that you're going to pass, because you took the time to fill in your weak areas. You took in the time to study areas that you weren't familiar with. And, not only that, you felt like you were ready to pass, but you did even more work so that you overkilled your preparation. And I think that's really going to be the key. Okay. And other than that, just basic things like, try to, if you can, get a good night's sleep a couple nights before your test. All right, I say 2 nights before your test is really the most important time to get a good night's sleep, like 7 to 9 hours. People will say the night before, and ideally you'll get a good night's sleep 2 nights before and the night before. But the thing is, that happens to a lot of people is, they will, the night before the test, they'll be really nervous and they won't be able to sleep. And so if you've got a really poor night's sleep 2 nights before your test, and then you're up all night worried about your test the night before, then you're really going to be running on empty when it comes to your sleep. Just my opinion. But just things like that. We have a baby in the house right now, so my wife and I are up several times in the night as it is. So that's not possible for us. But depending on your situation, it might not be possible for you to really get a full night's sleep. But ideally, you'll go into your test well rested if that's possible for you. But if not, you got to do what you got to do, and just really tell yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Take deep breaths when you go into your test, and just really take it one question at a time. I think that's key for a lot of people. If you get one question, view each question separately. That's the way I try to tell people to look at it. The question that you're on, try to get that question right. But, if you're just stumped and you have no idea, just guess and move on to the next question. All right. Don't worry about how well you're doing during the test. It's not really going to help you, right, to stress out about how well you're doing. You're already in there. You've made the decision to take the test. Just stressing out over each question, it's probably going to affect your score negatively. So just take it one question at a time. Try to get each question right. Focus on one question at a time. You want to be mindful of that time ticking down because you don't want to spend too much time on any one question. But at the same time, try to just not stress too much about it. Just focus on get each question that you can right. And, just try to be confident. But I don't want you to just have, false confidence. I want you to have studied and prepared and to know that you have overkilled your studying to a certain extent so that you are genuinely confident in yourself, right? That doesn't mean you're not going to have anxiety. That doesn't mean you're not going to have fear. If you've got things on the line like, time and money, and maybe you've got a job, you've got a lot riding on your test. So I don't want to, you've got a lot riding on your test probably, I'm sure, right now as you're watching this. So, just be mindful of that, but just try not to worry too much. Try to be confident in your studying and in yourself, and, just let it fall wherever it's going to fall. And either way, I'm here for you. This channel's here for you. I want you to succeed, everyone here. This is a really positive environment we have here on this YouTube channel largely, and I'm grateful for that. So, we all want you to succeed. We're all in this together. Thank you for watching this video. I wish everybody the best at their test, and I hope this was helpful. Sorry I kind of ranted and rambled here.